Okay, thank y'all for coming out. This is Lubbock Real Estate Investor Group. So we're going to talk about building your net worth through rental properties, through real estate. So this is a really, really good topic for maybe for a friend, maybe for you. And so I'm recording. I got a little lapel mic. We're leveling up just a little bit. So if you listen to this and you think that, hey, I wish so-and-so was here, kind of like when you're at church and they give a really good message and you're like, oh man, that was good, but my friend really should have been here. So if that happens, we'll have it recorded and they can listen to me at twice the speed. So it's good to be here in person, but you can zip through it later. So before I get into it, for anyone that hasn't been here, just want to give kind of a lay of the land with who's in here. So when we get to the networking, you'll know who to talk to. So who in here is primarily wholesaling? Raise your hand. Okay. Lenders in the room? Realtors in the room? House flippers? Okay, and then who focuses on rentals? Cool. All right, so if you saw someone that you want to learn from or talk to afterwards, then go for it. So a little bit about me. My company is Thunder Sun Homes. Got some of my team right here. I took a little candid screenshot, but we won't dwell on that for too long. I'll take it back off. We were on a team call. We do a lot of rentals, house flipping, a lot of both of those, a little bit of wholesaling. But this topic that we're going to talk about today is super powerful. We do a lot of it. We have a lot of rental properties, and take that back off. Caught me. This is something that I love because throughout the years I've helped multiple people on the team get into rental properties, and it's just an awesome thing for your personal life as well. So, question I'll ask you is, if you're in real estate investing, why did you get into real estate investing? So common answers would be maybe cash flow, maybe you just wanted to make some quick money. Maybe you heard it was quick money, okay? Long-term wealth, freedom. This is a question for you to ponder because I feel like the audience, whether everyone in here, I know a lot of you, but people that are going to be watching this, if you're just starting out, you want to have kind of a roadmap of where to get to. So me starting out, I had to do a bunch of wholesales and transactional type business for a couple years before I even was able to start getting into rentals. But if you've been in the business a long time, it's really attractive to just make that quick sale, make a little bit of money, make a chunk of money. And so what we're going to go over is going to show different ways that you can build wealth through rentals. So I just made a little chart right here, but it compares doing transactions, which can be wholesaling, flips, realtor commissions, anything like that, compared to holding assets, which could be rental properties. It could be holding notes, but those have an end date as well. And the reason that a lot of people kind of get stuck doing transactions, wholesaling, flipping, all that stuff, is because it's a linear growth, so it's faster up front. So you can make more money up front. Whereas holding assets is kind of a slower start, but it compounds over time. And the trajectory of, if you're looking at your net worth with holding assets, it blows doing transactions out of the water. There needs to be a good mix of both in a lot of real estate businesses, but the best way to compound your net worth is through holding assets. A little bit later, I'm going to go into compounding more in depth, compare it to the stock market, compare it to other things. This isn't just to talk about, hey, there's this thing called compound interest, because a lot of us already know about that, but I'm going to show how it applies to rental properties. So the 5 ways to build wealth through rentals. I want some participation on this one. So just shout out one way that a rental property can earn you money or build your wealth. Appreciation. Boom. Cash flow. Those are 2 of the 5. Tax savings, boom. Yep, your mortgage pay down. The fifth one, not a lot of people talk about it, is fixed debt. The fact that you can get debt on a property and have it fixed is a huge way to build your wealth. And we'll talk about that. Appreciation, debt pay down, and then tax savings we talked about. So we're going to start off with cash flow and then fixed debt. Okay, and these kind of go together. So let's talk about it. So throughout today, we're going to have this kind of subject property so that we can all have something that sticks out in our brain for an example. So with each of these areas of building wealth, we're going to talk about this property. This is a duplex we have. It's funny, the RIA that meets up here, I haven't been to one yet, but they sent out a deal analysis calculator and it had my duplex as the subject property. I was like, why are you analyzing my duplex? He said, oh man, I tried to buy that one. So I was like, oh, sorry. So, so we're going to use the same duplex today for the example. So in the example, the duplex is worth $200,000. That's ARV, after repair value, $200,000. Your all-in costs are $150,000. Okay. So before we even get started on all of the other numbers, if you buy this deal right out of the gate, your net worth went up $50,000 just for buying it at that discount. That's number one. But let's look at the cash flow. So you can make $1,200 per side, which these aren't the actual numbers. I'm just using this as an example. Your mortgage at $150,000, 20-year mortgage, 6.5% interest, be about $1,100 a month. So these are your other expenses. Taxes and insurance, $400. These numbers, property manager, vacancy, and maintenance, they're each 10% of your rent. So that's the ratio that we use when we're doing deal analysis. So this property would cash flow $180 a month. So this is the example we're going to use. Now, if you watch this back, I'll also send out the slide deck. You can go through these more in depth, but I'm going to highlight a couple things. So year one, you've got all of the net numbers. Cash flow is just over $2,000 a year. And I did an assumption of everything going up 2% per year. So your income's going to go up 2% per year. Your expenses are going to go up 2% per year. That's your maintenance, vacancy, management costs, everything else. But your debt is fixed. So this is where having fixed debt comes in to build your wealth, is that as all of your income goes up, and by the way, your income should grow faster than your expenses because it's a bigger number to start with. So 2% on a bigger number is always going to outpace the smaller number. So if your debt is fixed, you see your cash flow over the years, this is years 1 through 10, continues to go up. And we're just talking about one property here. Any questions before I move on? Can you hear me okay back there?
Yeah.
I need to yell a little more.
Yeah, you're good.
They're going to really get it on the video.
So I got a question.
Yeah.
10%, that's just no conservative? I mean, 10% per category?
Yes.
Do you see more investors doing that? So what's that, 30%?
Right, 30%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you see more or less that other investors use large CapEx and vacancy?
I think this is pretty standard.
Okay.
Lubbock vacancy, I think right now is like 9% across the board. That's the actual number, but 10% just kind of a clean number. You can do it on the back of a napkin when you're out. So yeah. All right. Appreciation. So a rising tide lifts all the boats. We've all heard that. That's kind of what we're talking about, is just as you hold this property, the value is going to go up. So looking at that duplex, let's say that you had bought that duplex like the RIA guys wanted to, and let's say they had just flipped it. And let's say they made $30,000 flipping it. That's awesome. That's income. That's a one-time thing. So simply holding on to that asset You can't count on appreciation, but I mean, it's pretty consistent. Other than the last 2 years, it's gone crazy high, but in a pretty stable market like Lubbock, appreciation is probably going to be there in the background. You don't think about it, but it's just happening. Everything is slowly going up. So my assumption here, and again, y'all can look at this later if you want to study it, 5% increase per year. And this is compounding. So it goes up 10,000, 10,000, 11, 12, 13, 14 per year. You get down to year 20. If it only appreciates 5% per year for 20 years, that $200,000 property is worth $505,000. And at the 20th year, it's going up $24,000 per year. So if you look at long-term wealth building, if you get this deal and you flip it and you make 30 grand right up front, cool. But look at this. This is every single year. It's just sitting there. This is just appreciation. Every single year at 5% appreciation, that's how much it's going up. 15, 16, 17, 18,000 per year. And it only stops either if the market crashes or if you sell it. If you don't know the history of Lubbock, back in 2008, when real estate crashed nationwide, Lubbock was going up about 3% a year. And then for 2 years, it just leveled off. It didn't crash. 2 years pass, kind of starts picking up, goes back on that slow upward curve. So we're kind of lucky. We're in a pretty stable market here. Number 4 way that just owning a rental will build your wealth is through debt pay down. So this is y'all might recognize that YouTuber. He's probably in this skit handing out money to people, but the tenant's got the money. The tenant's paying you rent. You make a little bit of cash flow, $100, $200 a month. But what's also happening is as you pay the bank on your mortgage, a chunk of that is paying down your balance. So your tenant, they're actually paying down the debt that you have on the property. So I won't go too in depth. This is an amortization table. I'll point out that the principal here that's getting paid down is smaller than the interest at the beginning. Here in about year 10, all of a sudden more than half of your payment is going to pay down your principal. The principal is just what you owe. And then this is a 20-year mortgage, so your balance goes down, 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 down to 20 years, it's paid off. So during that time, you're cash flowing, and at the same time, as you make your payments, you're paying down that balance until after 20 years, if you don't refinance or anything, it's a free and clear property now. I'm flying through these. Does anyone have any questions about debt pay down? Nope. All right. Let's talk about our tax savings. Some people just buy properties for tax savings, no other purpose. They don't care about anything else. They just want to save money on taxes. So who knows how you actually save money on taxes by buying a property? How does that work?
You write off your trips to go to your rental property.
That's kind of the perks of owning a business. So specific just to having the rental, let's say you don't do any kind of write-offs or anything like that, just simply holding it. Yeah, depreciation. So if you remember one of the past slides, number 3 was appreciation is going to make you money, and now depreciation is going to make you money. So if it's your first time hearing those terms, you're probably like, what? So the property goes up in value, I make money. It goes down in value, I make money. So here's the caveat, here's the catch, is that for us, for the market value, it's appreciating. It's going up in value, so we are building our net worth through that. But according to the government, it's going down in value every single year. So they will allow you to depreciate the value of your property. They're saying, well, for a house, 27 and a half years, it's probably going to be worthless. You can depreciate all of it. For a commercial building, 39 years. So basically, what you do is you take the value of the property and you divide it by 27 and a half years. And that's how much money you get to write down your taxable income every single year for 27 and a half years. So that's pretty cool. But there's also something called cost segregation. This is why certain people that don't care about real estate and they make a ton of money, maybe they have other businesses or a high paying job, they don't care about anything except for this right here. So cost segregation is where you get someone to do it's called a cost segregation study. And they're basically going to write down the value of your property a ton in the first year, maybe in the second and the third year, so the early years. And so I'm not even going to go into the numbers on cost segregation, but some people, if they have, let's say they owe the government $100,000 just in taxes. That's not their income. That's how much they owe the government. If they buy a large enough property and do cost segregation, they can depreciate that property, a ton of it up front, and probably wipe out most, if not all, of their tax bill. So that's why when they look at real estate, they're like, this is making me $100,000. You may see them and say, oh, they paid market prices, or they maybe even overpaid a little bit. But they're saving $100,000 on taxes. So it's just a different mindset. All right, so let's show this same duplex that we're looking at. Let's show an example of tax savings. They won't let you depreciate the land because the government's not that stupid. They know, okay, even if the house withers away, the land is still there. So let's say we got it all in for $150,000. They'll probably let you depreciate $135,000 of that. There's different ways to split it up, but that's the number we'll use. So divide that by 27 and a half years. Each year you get about $4,900 in a reduction to your taxable income. So if you're in a 39% tax bracket, that's $1,900 per year in actual money saved. So, quick disclaimer, and this is kind of funny. I'm pretty sure I have that right, but there's a small chance I don't, because I've bought so many rentals over the years that our taxes are pretty much covered every single year by depreciation. So I haven't had to get super granular on, the ins and outs of it. It's just, yep, we got our rental depreciation, it covers it. So if someone wants to correct me on that, I'm pretty sure that's how it is calculated, but just wanted to give that disclaimer. So those were the 5. So what I want to do now, we've kind of broken them down. I want to combine them all and let you see how they all stack up to building wealth. So we got year 1, 5, 10, and 20. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're making some jumps here. So I'll look at year 1. So you got the $2,160 in cash flow, $10,000 appreciation. You paid down your debt, $1,500. You saved $1,900 in taxes, and all in all that combined, you built about $15,000 in wealth. Okay, this is the reason why people will flip this duplex instead of keep it. They're like, I can make $30,000 this year, or I could. You don't really make. You're getting $2,000 in cash flow. You're getting $1,900 back from taxes, but you don't really see the gains that you're making. That's why people will sell this property instead of keep it. Year 5, you're building your wealth $21,000 a year. Year 10, $28,000 a year. Year 20, you're building your wealth $47,000 a year. And by the way, every single year in between these, the number is somewhere in between this. So like year 2 is somewhere between $15,000 and $21,000. Year 3 is somewhere higher than that. So it's not just a one-time at these milestones, it's every single year this is happening. The cumulative effect of this is crazy. So for instance, year 20, you're building your net worth $47,000. So if you look at that versus year 1 selling it, like I'm building my net worth way more, keeping it over the long haul. Year 21, you're probably close to $50,000. Year 22, it's every single year. That's the difference. So, do you have a question? Yeah, 1, 5, 10, and 20. Why is that?
That's the payoff.
Yep. Yep. So Scott caught this before I even went over it. He said, the cash flow went from 5,000 in year 10 to 22,000 in year 20. That's the year on a 20-year mortgage that it got paid off. So all of a sudden your mortgage expenses are gone. And that's your free and clear cash flow. So awesome catch. All right, so seeing this is one property. Is anyone maybe considering that maybe I might want to start looking at keeping some rentals? Okay. If you're not there yet, let's look at 10. Okay. You could do it 10 in 1 year. You might be working a little harder. It's not crazy. 10 in 5 years, 10 in 10 years, whatever. You get to 10, let's look at the numbers. And the math is easy, and I rounded. You just multiply it by 10. So, so that same property, you get 10 of them. Let's look at what that does. By year 20, once you have them paid off, your cash flow is $223,000 per year. So 10 properties. That's not a ton of properties. That's if it gets paid off. But you think you could possibly retire, do what you want to do with that? The other crazy thing is that your wealth being built. Let's just look at year 1, right? Because in the other example, year 1, it was like, it makes sense to sell it more so than it does to keep it. Maybe, I don't know. Year 1, you're building $156,000 in wealth. Year 1, you buy it. If you have 10 properties. So that's over $10,000 a month. Now, all you're going to see is $21,000. You're going to see less than $2,000 a month in cash flow. You're like, I probably can't retire. But if you see what's going on behind the scenes in the background, that you're saving a ton of money on taxes, that's money you would have had to give up. So you can count that kind of as income. The property is more than likely going up in value. You're getting some of your debt paid down. It's powerful. Year 20, $470,000 per year, just with these 10 properties. So that's what I'm trying to display, is that if you buy real estate and you hold it and you don't get shiny object syndrome along the way, this is every single year. This doesn't stop. It's not like you have to sell the properties and they stop. The next year, it's going to be closer to $500,000 of wealth built. And the year after that, it's going to be a little bit more. That's how this works. So I've got way more than 10 rentals, but looking at this even made me excited because, you know, if you're in this business and you have rentals and maybe you're just thinking about all the tenant headaches and all the calls you get and how this isn't fun, whatever, when you remember what's going on behind the scenes, when you realize what's going on behind the scenes and what you're building for your future, I don't know about y'all, but for me, I was mind blown. I was like, that is, you know, it makes the hard work worth it. This is what's happening. If you can just keep your head down and make it happen and find some deals and get some rentals, this is what's happening in the background. So that's the moral of the story so far, is keep some rentals, okay? Like I said, I didn't start buying rentals until 2 years in, so I had to do some transactions because I didn't have a job. If you got a job, keep some rentals, okay? Now I'm going to go a little bit further into compound interest because, like I said earlier, you know, someone could be in here and saying, well, compound interest works in the stock market too. I'm not just sharing about compound interest, right? I'm not just trying to make real estate look sexy because, hey, compound interest is this thing that's out there. Most of us know about it. I'm going to kind of debate against myself about real estate compound interest and how it's way, way better than compound interest in the stock market. Number one, okay, with stocks, the bank's not going to give you money. They don't think you're just some savant stock picker, like you know the exact company that's about to blow up. So they're not going to loan you any money. You have a set amount of money and it compounds from there. So you invest $100,000 into stocks, it's going to compound based on that $100,000. That's it. Okay? Point number one. Number two, whoops. With real estate, you can add properties without having to add money to the mix. So you can accelerate your compounding. Like when we went from 1 property to 10 properties, we're accelerating the compounding. It's multiplied by 10, right? But in stocks, where are you going to come up with $1 million to add so that your compounding accelerates? You can't unless you earn it. And so in real estate, you don't have to necessarily add capital to grow your investment basis if you're buying good deals. In stocks, you've got to make a lot of money somewhere else that you then funnel into your stocks. And you can do the same thing in real estate. I mean, you can make a bunch of money somewhere else and funnel it into real estate. So there's no real way to accelerate your stock compound interest investing in the stock market, unless you just add more money to it yourself. And again, you can't just, if there's a company you like, you can't just pick up that stock and kind of ride the appreciation of it, right? In real estate, if there's a property you want to buy, you can pick up that property. With stocks, if you want to do that, you got to sell off some stocks. You got to get out of the compounding over here and then move that to the new company to get into the better opportunity. With real estate, if there's a new property you like, you don't have to sell all of your properties that you have just to get into it. You can keep those and get new properties, again, without having to add money to it. So that's the BRRRR method. Who knows the BRRRR method? It's spoken about a lot. So what does it stand for? Yes. Buy, renovate or rehab, rent, refinance, and then repeat. And this is a repeatable thing. So let's see how the BRRRR method applies to here. You purchase this property for $130,000. You rehab it for $20,000. So just like we've been using the example, your all-in cost is $150,000. It's worth $200,000. So bingo, instant equity. So you get a loan at 75% of the value. Your loan is $150,000. So how much money do you have left in this deal? How much did you have to put into the deal and stay there? Zero. 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 Fun fact, some banks will do 80%. So you could pull out $160,000 and get $10,000 sent to you to just own this property. So that also works too, and it happens all the time. So that's how you scale your purchasing of rentals, right? That's why rental properties can compound way better than the stock market. Not to mention the cash flow, the tax savings, all the other stuff, but just the compounding aspect. If you can find good deals, you can get them at a discount to what they're worth and refinance it out. You can duplicate this over and over and build up your asset base. And I got one last thing, and we're gonna go next level on tax-free wealth. So follow me on this example. Let's say you bought those 10 properties that we were looking at, okay? The same numbers that we have. After the 20 years, you'd have about a $5 million portfolio. They're $500K each after 20 years, if y'all remember the appreciation table. And $223,000 in cash flow per year. That's, for a lot of people, that's probably good enough to retire. Like $223,000 a year. Now we don't know where inflation will go. Maybe that's not enough for you. So if it's not enough, you could get an extra $100,000 per year with doing nothing else, owning these properties. You just have to do a cash out refi or a home equity line of credit or something to access the equity that you have in there. So since it's worth $5 million, you can do a cash out refi for $4 million, 80%, right? So if you can get $4 million out, that's an additional $100,000 per year, like we talked about, for 40 years after retirement. Okay, now that's going to change your cash flow numbers. You'll have a mortgage again, or you'll have some kind of interest payments to make on it. So your cash flow will go down, but you can pull out a significant amount of money from it. And the reason why I said this is tax-free is because the IRS considers that a loan. It is a loan. It's not income. They can't tax you on the equity you have in a property, other than property tax. But we're not going to get into that. But if you're pulling equity out of a property you own and you're not selling it, whether you use a HELOC or you do a cash out refinance, you pay zero taxes on that. So that's the other thing. If you were to take that duplex and sell it and make the 30 grand, you're going to pay taxes on that. If you do a cash out refinance somewhere down the line, and it doesn't have to be after 20 years, you can do it sooner if you want to grow, if you want to expand your business, or you just want to live off of that and pull some money out. But they're not going to tax you on that because it is technically a loan. And so you can access the equity that you've built up. It's not just the cash flow. You can access the equity up to $4 million whenever you need it. And that's, again, 10 properties. 10 properties that started at the beginning were worth $200,000. So just going to recap the 5 ways to build wealth through rentals. Y'all nailed most of these. Cash flow, fixed debt, appreciation, debt pay down, and tax savings. We covered the burn method, how to get more tax-free money out of your properties in retirement. And so before I wrap up, just wanted to open it up if y'all have any questions. Anything that we've covered.
Why 2-year loans?
Well, that's what a lot of banks will do. So that comes down to preference. You can get a 30-year loan if you want more cash flow up front. So you can get a 15 or a 10-year if you want to pay it off sooner. So it really just depends on someone's goals.
I have a question. It's going to be kind of specific. So if you own your properties in an LLC, right, and they're obviously making you net income on your balance sheet, you probably want to include the business evaluation for the business that owns the rental property, right? And typically you're going to use a multiplier for that number. So say, you know, your net per year is 20 grand, so then your business valuation would then be 80 grand-ish. You use a 4 multiplier. Are you representing that separately on your balance sheet from the value of the property? Because if you were to sell your business, you could sell it in theory for 80 grand.
I think the
Lenders?
I think the business
Would you lift an eyebrow at that if you saw that on my...
the business would have to be separate from the rentals because the whole value of the rentals is in their income if you're looking at it holistically. And so it would have to be a company that could be valued separately for generating the opportunities to get more rentals. So like if you separated your holding company and your wholesaling company and you just wholesaled to yourself, that potentially. But for me personally, I don't track the value of the company. It's just whatever the assets are, that's it. So that's an interesting conversation topic though.
So that's when you could use 4 multipliers, and every additional rent dollar maybe multiply by 4, but then you couldn't capture it here, so...
That might be how REITs work.
Yeah.
That might be why they do a REIT. I'm not totally sure though. Any other questions before I wrap up? Okay, so I've got something to give to y'all if you want it to help you track your net worth. And it's a tool that I've used pretty much since I got started in the business. It's fun. Every time you buy a property, you can add it in there and you can track it. And if you know anything about business, it's that whatever you measure is what gets done and what improves. If you don't measure it, then you're not going to think about it. It's not going to be at the forefront. It's not going to do as well. So if net worth is important to you, then it's something that you need to measure. So I've got this tool I built. This is just, I threw some random numbers in here, but it'll track your net worth on the green bar, your note assets on the the gray line, your flips in the blue line, and your rental assets in the red line. And all of those combined plus your cash will give you your net worth.
Excuse me, guys, I'm sorry, I gotta get in the office.
So I've got this tool. I've shared it with a couple people already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post in the Facebook group. And if you want this tool, it's also something that you can send to your lenders. So you just hit download, and I'd say probably 9 out of 10 banks will take it. They'll be like, oh, great, you've got a personal financial statement. So it doubles as both. It's an actual spreadsheet that then shows up like this as well. So I'll make a post in the Facebook group, and if you want it, you can just comment your email on there, and I'll get one made individual to you so you can take it and use it and send that out. So that's all we got today. Our next one is going to be September 20th. We love Giorgio's, and so hopefully we'll have it back here again September 20th at noon. It's always the third Tuesday of the month. My contact info is here. If y'all need me, you can reach me on the Facebook group as well. But that's it. I want to encourage y'all to, 1, buy rentals, and then 2, network with people in this room, because that's the whole purpose of me starting this group a few years back. Is just I felt networking kind of dying, and then COVID hit and all this craziness. So I've done a lot of deals with people in this room simply because we know each other, we network. So that's why we leave a little bit of time at the end to just network and get to know everyone. So see y'all next time. Thank you.